Hey guys, welcome to the MC Anime Podcast. We cover anime, geek culture, Japanese aesthetics, and Asian studies. We are a multi-fandom podcast, and you can expect to hear topics in your favorite hobby or fandom activity potentially. You can find MC Anime on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, please check out mcanimepodcast.com, our website. Furthermore, stay tuned in for another episode.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of MC Anime. I'm MC Anime, and I have the regular, one-of-the-mill co-host with me, Chemi.
Hello, guys.
Chemi's back and ready for some vengeance because he's been MIA and ready to go in action.
That's right.
So today, we actually have a very interesting episode theme for this particular episode, which we're on the 26th episode. And further ado, we're talking about Spiderman Japan.
Yep.
So, when you first looked and read about Spiderman Japan, what was your reaction?
Well, it kind of does resemble a Power Ranger. I can see that much.
It resembled the Power Ranger? That's the only thing you took from it?
I mean, only that. I kind of learned a lot more about, into like the Spider-Man fiction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
there was very Power Ranger moments in Spider-Man Japan. And actually, Spider-Man Japan is what influenced Super Sentai, which then influenced Power Rangers. So in a way, Spider-Man Japan built up the basics for the Power Rangers to exist. At least in the first to do it. There's no other live action series did anything equivalent to this to a degree.
mm-hmm.
And you want to compare the original Spider-Man to Spider-Man Japan?
Sure. How can we start this off? So it was pronounced in like Spiderman, I think it's called.
Yeah. Spiderman.
The heck?
Japanese. Spiderman.
I barely heard what you said. My God.
Spiderman. Spiderman, or something like that.
Spiderman.
I don't know. I just know they had a very unique style when they presented Spider-Man in Japan.
I see.
So when you think of the original wall slinging crawler, you think of climbing on buildings, shooting the web, and breaking the fourth wall. Well, this Spider-Man's a little bit different. He's more geared to Japan and how Japan operates. You catch my drift. Japan would take an intellectual property, transform it into something totally new. And by transforming into new properties and being transformative, like literally transformative of the character adaptation, they bend it to their own style. And for Spider-Man Japan, that was pretty much the reaction of big Marvel elite of corporate world in America at the time. Because when they responded to the project and saw Spider-Man with a giant robot and a motorcycle, it got kind of an interesting approach, and they couldn't believe that this exaggerated character would actually be the Spider-Man series in Japan for like 50 episodes. Stan Lee said he loved it and gave it approval. What do you think about Stan Lee giving it approval?
I thought it was quite interesting that they're giving the approval. I mean, well known Stan Lee for like what, for how long? Many years now.
Yeah. He's loved the idea. You know, the reason why perception of Spider-Man was taken in that way was that they didn't imagine that Spider-Man would become this summoning a giant robot to fight giant creatures in the Iron Cross army. Like even the Iron Cross army sounds something like Power Rangers. Like, come on. So yeah, Stan Lee gave it a thumb of approval. Had lots of fun. He also had the Spider-Man visit him. The integral part of Spider-Man Japan was still authentic to Spider-Man. It's just they to sell with Japan they have a very tight budget, and to sell Spider-Man they had to market to kids and make toys out of it to make it successful. Which Spider-Man Japan did really well in that degree, selling toys and having the attractions to go with it, like the Mechazoid and thing that transformed the jet that would transform into the Mechazoid. Instead of the body, they use a body of a Sphinx instead of a spider. No one disregarded that as strange; they just accepted it. So, fundamentally, Spider-Man is totally different. How do you know, compared to Spider-Man Japan, to Peter Parker that we have in the comics, what is the main difference that you saw?
um. So, from what I read, the Spider-Man, the Japanese Spider-Man doesn't just go around by web slinging. Since his bracelet is also summoned by like the Marveler, I think it's called, or the spacecraft which contained like a flying car, or the Spider Machine GP7, I think it's called, right?
Yes.
So it kind of like uses like a wristband. Well, because you compare like the three other Spider-Mans, like the original one, has to shoot out like webs from his wrist, which is kind of weird. Then you have the second Spider-Man, which he actually made like gadgets to like. So I don't know. I don't think it's like the first Spider-Man that created gadgets to shoot out webs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially the Iron Man version of Spider-Man. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Iron Spider.
Yep.
And actually, Iron Spider kind of interesting because he saw, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home just recently. I think it's No Way Home. Yeah, Doctor Ock and Iron Spider fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting seeing that in the after Tony Stark gives him the iron suit and after the fact fight Doc Ock. Yeah. Doc Ock, 8 arms. Iron Spider, 8 limbs as well. What you think about that?
Well, if the Spider-Man did not get the power up from Iron Man, I don't think he would stand a chance versus Doctor Octopus's technology, since it was also made with nanotechnology with Green Goblin's technology.
Yeah, and also in Maguire, the movie, it was also Doc Ock taking himself as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it truly Tom McGuire didn't necessarily defeat him as Peter Parker. Just took a combination of things to just make it apparent that he would suffer. So,
Sorry about that. Yeah.
but yeah, I think the arachnid versus the octopus is kind of cool. You don't usually see the Iron Spider with Doc Ock,
Mm-hmm.
but because when they proposed, when the person that was a representative of Marvel trying to campaign a project in Japan for Spider-Man Japan, he was very nervous proposing it to the Marvel Elite Corporate because he didn't know how they would take it, and he was resting everything on this to make this proposal because there's so many changes to fundamentally what Spider-Man was that it could backfire if he didn't do it carefully. What's your proposal on that? You pitch something, you take a giant risk in not succeeding.
Yeah, that would be yeah, so you're just like taking a giant risk and like it just happened. Yeah, that would be a bit of a disappointment. I agree.
What's the time that you had the disappointment? And
Huh?
it paid off. Where's the time you took a giant risk and it did not pay off like you wanted to?
For Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, I did a play where I thought, oh, like I didn't think I would play into this card, but I actually did play into that card. So, yeah,
And
that's
what card was that? What was going on?
Mirror Force. Mirror Force.
I love you played. You played as a Mirror Force. Were you not playing a negate deck?
I was playing Prank Kids and I was trying to OTK, and he was playing trains. Okay, like you didn't expect trains to play Mirror Force, right? So then I tried to go for a game, and he had Mirror Force, and that costed me the game. I should have just went Rip Roy Roaster to destroy the Mirror Force before I attacked. So, yeah.
Wait, but how much backward did he have before you attacked?
He
Before
had one. I destroyed everything with access code, but except he had one card left. So I was like, okay, it would probably be Awaken a Dragon or whatever. But it said it was a Mirror Force. Not Storm, not even like the good Mirror Force, like Storm Mirror Force. It was the actual Mirror Force. Like, what kind of train deck that plays Mirror Force?
Storming from
That's
a
not.
Mirror Force is bad.
Huh?
Storming Mirror Force is actually bad.
Storm Mirror Force returns all attack position monsters to the hand. What are you talking about? That's better.
Mirror Force is the one that makes everything into defense. It can't change battle position.
What?
Oh, never mind. I'm talking about Drowning Mirror Force.
No, not well. Johnny Mirror Force is good too. Like that's another thing you gotta watch out for. But I thought it was Waking the Dragon, okay? Because I know they would play something like that, but they didn't expect
Did
to
they
play Mirror
play
Force,
Awaken the Dragon?
huh?
Did they actually play Awaken the Dragon?
Yes, he did. Actually, he actually main decked it.
Okay. But you're telling me you did access code on all the other back row. And what was
Except
the
for
option
one,
to remove the other one?
huh?
What was the option to remove the other one?
Was it an option or like
Why did you just make the link 4?
to OTK? What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. You should have just make the link 4 right on the back row.
I don't want to play. My gosh, we're kind of getting off topic here.
Anyway, with Spider-Man Japan, I like, okay, so another big difference is how they get the powers. You
The
know,
what? The powers.
yeah, you didn't see that?
Well, if I remember correctly, didn't the original Spider he got bitten by a spider, right? Oh no, and like The Japanese Spider-Man got it from a robot, right?
He's genetically altered as a result of a spider extract injected into his body by Gorilla, gaining
Oh.
like abilities such as being able to stick to and climb up walls. Gorilla is a spider alien dude that's in a
Oh,
cave.
it
He
did say
falls
something
down the
about the
cave.
spider protector,
Yeah,
right?
and it infuses him with the spider extract, and as a result, he gains the ability. And to be honest, I think the father was an archaeologist, so he was on this cliffside, and the Iron Cross Army was actually did like a similar thing to Uncle Ben in the comics for the main Spider-Man, but instead it was the father. Made him pass away, and then he swore vengeance on the Iron Cross Army, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the Iron Cross Army. So what do you think
Nice.
of the Iron Cross Army?
The what?
Iron Cross Army.
The Iron Cross Army?
Yeah. The evildoers that Spider-Man's facing instead of individual villains, he's facing a group of villains.
Oh yeah, I don't know. That kind of made me got weird about, again, it kind of reminds it gives you the Power Ranger vibes,
But that's a monster. Crimes is invasion and genocide. The type of villain, the alien military, the Amazonas, leading the charge.
Oh my god.
The Iron Cross Army, a band of alien invaders led by Professor Monster and the main antagonist of Toei's 1978 Tsutasu's Saku series Spider-Man, adapted from the Marvel Comics, the same name. 400 years before they arrived on Earth, the Iron Cross Army invaded the planet Spider and wiped all their inhabitants. A lone survivor, Gorilla, managed to escape and wander the cosmos before coming to Earth. He was followed by the Iron Cross Army, who trapped him in a cave full of poisonous spiders. Hundreds of years later, the Iron Cross Army would put in motion plans to invade Earth. However, Guerrilla, who had managed to survive for 400 years, driven by a desire for revenge, psychically called out to a young man named Hyria and attracted him to the cave. There, Guerrilla revealed to Takuya the Iron Cross Army's invasion of Earth and how they destroyed Planet Spider in the distant past. With not much time left, bestowed his power onto Tetsuya before fading to dust, granting him the power to transform to Spider-Man and to defend Earth from the Iron Cross Army.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
Quite interesting.
So yeah, the last remaining remembrance of the planet of Iron Cross Army would give Spider-Man the power to face the Iron Cross Army. What do you think of that concept?
Again, it just kind of gave off those Power Ranger vibes,
So we have the Iron Cross Army and the Spider-Man Japan that Toei during this time after they launched Spider-Man, they launched Super Sentai to Power Rangers. Had very much success with it, so keep that in mind. How does Peter Parker get his powers in the comics? Do you know
He
that?
got bitten by a spider, right?
Yeah, he got bitten by a radioactive spider.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a radioactive spider versus an alien spider inhabitant of the planet of spiders. Which one sounds more interesting?
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out. What'd you say?
A radioactive spider or the last inhabitant and survivor of planet of spiders?
I guess the radioactive spider.
Radioactive sounds better than the last remaining survivor of a planet, bestowing
Uh,
power to the hero.
it sounded like too long. I don't know. Kind of like
Too long.
the way you said it. Can you just why can't it just be a radio? Why can't it be simple like radioactive spider? You know. But no, you have to give like so many words. Jeez.
I mean, okay. What the Iron Cross Army Japanese Spider-Man represents the long horde classic of the last remaining survivor is either part of the action or has like an apprentice mentor role to someone else, and the mentor role they're no longer there, but they're still fulfilling the justice of the person who gave them the power. This is this kind of tale like Lady in the Lake gives you the sword, and the sword will grant you the power to fight the evil necessary in the kingdom. It's basically King Arthur getting the sword and rising to power, taking on a quest of some sort. Isn't that so weird, though? That this is how Spider-Man was portrayed.
Yeah, I could say yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the entire hero's journey is in the definition of Spider-Man Japan. While in Spider-Man comics, the hero's journey still applies, was more figuratively than literally. Like it doesn't represent the like Lord of the Rings trilogy mode. It just represents someone with superpowers. Like it's this comparison to Lord of the Rings is pretty spot on. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Mm, I don't know. I thought the radioactive spider is just. I'm not trying to say it. Hmm.
I mean, you have Hawk being exposed to an accident with gamma radiation and turn into a big, greenly bulk dude. So what's the difference?
Uh, the difference is the transformation, or like.
He becomes the Hulk. It's like two personas in one body.
Oh
Who's
wait,
been,
Hulk.
yeah, he was exposed to a gamma radiation accident. The explosion should have killed him, but it instead made the Hulk.
Oh yeah. Well, wait,
Oh,
what? I thought we're talking about Spider-Man. What does Hulk have to do with this?
I was saying how he got his powers.
Oh, how he got his powers.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you don't think that's weird, but you think a spider, radioactive spider, is a lot better than gamma radiation exposure by accident.
Okay, well now you bring up Hulk, then I guess maybe Hulk's powers are a bit more strange. You keep confusing me. Hey.
All right, let's talk about the Megazord that Spider-Man Japan has. So
Oh
what do
boy, the
you think about the
Mechazoid.
Megazord?
Huh?
What do you think? What's your thoughts of the Megazord?
Well, it does have a interesting artwork. Like, kind of looks like which one? Looks like Optimus Prime from Transformers. Sort of. Um,
I mean, funny fact. Funny fact. Transformers was kind of like that new series that spawned a bunch of toys too.
Oh yeah,
Marvel,
that's true. Mm-hmm.
Marvel. Okay, Transformers was by another company other than Marvel, but it was published under Marvel Comics Group, and that group uh, published it as a licensing agreement to the founders of Transformers, and they started a big toy line. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, what Spider-Man's Megazord's called Leopardon. Leopardon. Do you get why it's called that?
Why is it called Leopardon again?
Uh, it's Leopardon or Marvel.
Oh,
And funny thing, it's a giant robot from the planet Spider. So it goes back to the origin of Spider-Man.
oh man.
It's from planet Spider. Its reality is Earth 51778. Leopardon, you have returned. I knew you were invincible, Spider-Man. Like that is the Spider-Man that we came to know in Japan.
Yeah.
You have returned. I knew you were invincible. He was recruited into the Spider Army. He used Leopardon to oppose Sir Lewis, but the robot was easily destroyed by Solar's cosmic power. It remains were discovered by Lady Spider and Spider-Man 2099, who rebuilt it, augmented using nuclear material. It just gets weirder and weirder. Oh my gosh. So, the Marvelo and Leopardon. What do you think is the better name?
The what?
Leopardon or the Marvelo? What is your stance on the two of those names?
The Marvelon looks, or sorry, the Marvelon sounds cooler.
The Marvelo?
Yeah.
Why?
No, I don't know. I just have a cool catch to it.
Okay, so if I replaced it with Marvelo, you have returned! I knew you were invincible! Or Leopardon, you have returned! I knew you were invincible. Which one
Yeah,
sounds
see, like
better?
the first one, obviously, like the one that you just said, you just kind of got less excited.
Wait. You said that Marvel was less exciting?
No, the Marveler is more excited than the one you just said.
Oh,
Oh my god.
so it's more exciting the way I said it. And you
Yeah,
feel like
like you sounded
it's
less
like
excited when you said
reminiscent?
Leo.
Okay, so it's reminiscent of the fact that one name is better and the other is just Japanese type name, huh?
I mean, I guess, or maybe it's just your pronunciation.
Leopardon. Like Leo, like the lion, pardon. The Leopardon? Does that sound better?
I guess.
Oh boy.
Hmm.
When Spider-Man and Superior Spider-Man came to recruit him, he was fighting against a giant monster. At Superior Spider-Man's request, and Leopardon used his strongest weapon, Sword Vigor, immediately to end the fight. Attacked the skyscraper, and the inhabitants of the Spider-Men there escaped. Mm-mm-mm. So, what do you think of his ultimate attack, Strong Sword Vigor?
It's the ultimate attack.
Yeah, what do you think of the Megazord using the giant sword to use its
Again, it
attack?
just gives off those the Power Ranger vibes, you know?
Okay, what about Power Rangers do you like with the giant sword?
Huh?
Well, what do you like about Power Rangers with the giant sword on the Mechazords?
Yeah, I mean, it like it just gave off like um I really wasn't sure how to explain it, but what were your thoughts on it, honestly?
Mm. Dodging Sage.
What?
You're dodging.
What do you mean dodging?
You're dodging. It's like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
This
Exactly.
is the first time asking your opinion on it. Oh my god. Jeez.
I don't know. I think it's representative of Japanese culture. Because Japanese culture is not necessarily superhero friendly, as I should say. They don't usually have the superhero find the bad guy, save the day kind of concept. They kind of have the evildoer being an alien from space, or a giant kaiju of some sort, or what Power Rangers was, a giant transforming villain to a giant size of massive proportions, and then they have to make the Megazord to be on equal power of the giant creature, kind of thing. Like the giant creature in Megazords is really symbolic of the kaiju, because the kaiju in Japanese, like Godzilla and King Kong, is the giant creatures battling, and usually a kaiju is just very reminiscent of a giant creature. It doesn't have to be an alien. It can be a giant wolf, a giant monkey. It just has to be a giant creature of some kind. But generally speaking, we have like anime like Ultraman and stuff like that. It was giant aliens. So what do you think of like the MonsterVerse that's been relaunched into Godzilla and King Kong?
Mm, like the King Kong and Godzilla?
Yeah, the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, it kind of got it kind of like got my interest on it, like, and again, trying to think what else. Um, yeah, so Godzilla and King Kong. Would you ever imagine that Spider-Man would actually take on like someone like Godzilla or King Kong?
It could be if he has the Megazord to be on equal polling, but I don't really. I see him taking on King Kong more than taking on Godzilla.
What?
I see him taking on King Kong more than Godzilla.
What makes you say that?
Just because. Well, okay. Godzilla has a nuclear blast, and Spider-Man's really limited with his Megazord. He's not a Power Rangers Megazord, okay? So it's limited in attack, and it's also the first of its genre too. So these Megazords, when Spider-Man launched it, is not on par with what we see in Super Sentai or Power Rangers. Super Sentai is separate from Power Rangers, just so you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I see him fighting King Kong more than Godzilla.
Okay, makes sense.
That also means that the portrayal. Let's talk about how the portrayal of Spider-Man was like very done really well. Like they had this character find giant creatures, giant robots that sold a lot of toys because of the attractions and uh in the stunts that they used to realize Spider-Man. It was all real life. They didn't have anything that it was okay. You know how the technology that we have like CGI and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't have that. So everything on the Spider-Man Japan set was crafted by hand. The giant creatures were all made. They were blown. They were probably like what we usually see in one of the first Godzilla movies, a miniature city being destroyed by someone in a suit, and they blow it up to proportion to make it look like the giant creature in the picture. That's the concept they will use here. They would draft everything, make sure that like the giant fight scenes actually looks on par to what you expect in real life. But they also did that to Spider-Man. You'll get down super, super low, almost like eerie type feeling. Like you want to be personified as a spider. So crawling down super, super low is how he moves. So they personified Spider-Man even more by intimidating those movements like a spider, super low to the ground and stealthy. So do you see that with the comic book Spider-Man as much? Or do you see him mostly slinging around?
Just the comic books.
Like, I mean, we see him slinging around more in this big city. Well, also keep in mind that these fight scenes in Japan were mostly done without the city vibes. So they were fighting with a non-city background. Most of the time was because of the big portrayal of the stunts and explosions. They would do it in a wooded area or like a mine-related area. You know, most of the battles you see is like away from the city. Because the film in the city was actually super expensive. And also, it's not like shooting on location is very, it's more like cumbersome. So what do you think of shooting on location and all the laws that applies to that?
Like didn't Spider-Man also took place in so wait, we're in like where in Japan did the Japanese Spider-Man take place?
Well, it took all parts of Tokyo and stuff.
And then how would you compare that to like New York City where the actual
Well, okay,
American
most of the time, Spider-Man is always in the city. Spider-Man Japan is actually in the countryside because of the filming and the tight budget. Most of the time, they shot it in the countryside in the wooded area or in like a big location away from the city because it's cheaper and shooting actually in the city is a lot more difficult. It's very hard to shoot in that tight atmosphere as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like not every city in the world is easy to spot. Like there's a reason why some cities, there's some locations why it's not shot in the original location. You know that, right?
Right.
They do that because cost of convenience, also as well as location complication. The location and complications with scheduling and getting permits to use that location and close up streets and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So some place that is like looking like that city is used as a replacement. That's what they did with Spider-Man Japan.
Hmm.
And these stunts would be used like they use real explosives and they'll like be feet away before the stuntman had like only seconds to run while each explosion would take off. And explosions is really cheap, but it's a really good way to tell a story, like to depict the action related to what's going on. You know,
Right.
it shows the power of the scope, what's happening, and overall the carnage caused by the villain or the hero's attempts to avoid the explosion at all costs. And you know, the classic explosion of the enemy at each uh, encounter in Power Rangers. Every time the final scene is a big explosion scene when it goes down. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did.
So yeah, they would shoot each stunt. They would do it in a way like the only thing he has is no net, just a rope around him, and there's like literally no safety net, stuff like that. So to a degree, the level of safety of the stunt work was very dangerous. That any false move, you could actually literally be to the ground. Like when he climbed the Tokyo Tower, the stuntman was actually climbing without rope and safety net on the tower.
Hmm.
So it created more to capture those scenes, just like Spider-Man will, climbing over walls and doing it. They will have to go to the extreme to capture these movements to make it look like Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have CGI, and they have limited funds, so they have to do what they have. And also with Japan, when they direct something, the director is telling you exactly what to do. You are under contract, you are working for them, and you have no freedom to do your own portrayal, your own unique, distinctive role as the character. Because of the tight budget they have, the level of agency, expressing yourself and coming as the character, you did exactly what the director told you. Because they have a particular vision involved with the project and you have to follow it. Because of the story outline is so rigid. What do you think about that?
Um, it kind of reminded me of scene where in Spider-Man, then they in the new one where he outsmarted Doctor Strange and the geometrical, like he outsmarted Doctor Strange with the webs, you know.
Okay. Oh, you're saying that Spider-Man didn't want to follow Doctor Strange's orders and he wasn't following to a T.
Right.
While Spider Japan, they have to follow orders to a T. Okay, I see how you're getting.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's a great example. In No Way Home, when Peter Parker, Marvel's America's version of Spider-Man, is not following the commands of Doctor Strange to release all these, the multiverse back in the chaos, by disobeying him, create this huge mess of making the problem even worse.
I
So,
see.
in Japan, if you disobeyed, you create a chaotic scene just like Spider-Man No Way Home did.
Right.
So, okay. With Spider-Man Japan, what did you like? What you thought was interesting?
There's just the way they what should I call it? There's just the way how they design. Well, no, I wouldn't say not design characters. Like it's just the way how they like interpreted the word interpret. It's just how they like the way they made the story, you know, or like a different way of how Spider-Man and the Japanese Spider-Man than the Spider-Man we always used to know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And like, what else? I also enjoy like the Professor Monster Aliens, the Iron Cross Army, and like this the backstory behind everything towards it just really interests me.
Okay, so given off, that Peel as Japan's first Power Rangers really says it's testament to time and to the different versions of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, one
Oh
of
my
Japan's first Spider Rangers.
I can't
Spider-Man.
even pronounce that.
What? Spider-Man?
Spooder is it Spooderman? I don't know.
Spider-Man. Now, okay,
Hmm.
Spider-Man also returns into. It takes like 50, like 40 plus years for Spider-Man to return into the Spider-Verse sequel. So yeah, he comes back as a different version of Spider-Man. So the connection to the comics is that Spider-Man Japan is a different version of Spider-Man into the multiverse. What do you think of that niche bringing back into the Marvel universe?
Um, it's a possibility because I see one Easter egg, like in the the Way from Home from Spider Man is like, the Miles Morales,
Mhm.
from that Spider Man. So it's a possibility we might see that actual Spider Man and like future films or maybe in the future book comics. So where like all the Spider-Mans come from different universes or dimensions. I think yeah, I believe that would make a change for sure.
Okay. And when Marvel took a look at the robots from 10A's anime shows, they actually did like the Shogun Warriors. Now, okay, so the Shogun Warriors is actually what made Transformers a thing. Basically, instead of just one robot, how about an entire book about robots? That's where it came from. So yeah, Spider-Man Japan even influenced Transformers. What's your thought about that?
The what?
Transformers, Shogun Warriors.
What about it? Like I
It
actually
influenced it. Shogun Warriors and Transformers are the same name. Spider-Man
really.
Japan influenced Transformers because Shogun Warrior was the toy line. Transformers is the branding name in America. Shogun Warrior was in Japan.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, even Super Sentai Toei is really credited with Super Sentai after Spider-Man Japan. Spider-Man Japan was so successful that it started the entire Super Sentai genre, which carried over to Power Rangers and all the other variations of Power Ranger-like shows.
Mm.
I love this. Spider-Man's the self-proclaimed emissary of hell. What do you think of that?
Hey, they.
Hey, what do you think of that catchphrase?
Yeah, kind of cringe. Not gonna lie.
Cringe. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's not Peter Parker, but a motorcycle racer named Toei. So he has the background of a motorcycle racer, and he actually uses that skill through his background of being a racer and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What do you think of that kind of connection?
With
His history as being a racer and then playing the role of Spider-Man, who's who's just naturally using his racing abilities in combat.
Like your combat, you mean, or like?
Yeah, he will literally use the motorcycle as an aid of transportation, and also the Leopon being the Sphinx instead of the spider being the Transformer.
Oh,
Yeah.
the combat. I mean, it seems interesting because the Spider-Man also know he used Tony Stark's, Edith or the
Mm-hmm.
glasses, to make it, with the motor. Imagine that got powered up as like with a vehicle, like in like a Batmobile, or like as you said, the motorcycle. Like I that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Sorry.
also mentioned that in the show he can talk to spiders. So an actual spider is talking to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You should go be a Spider-Man. You need your help." What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Imagine the
He's
spider can.
literally given him the definition of Spider-Man to speak to spiders.
Yeah, that too.
I don't know. So what is Spider-Man Japan the equivalent to Ant-Man? Speaking to ants?
Oh right, Ant-Man.
Like, is he trying to speak to spiders now? Is he going to have an army of spiders? What if, what if instead of a Mechazoid, it was an army of spiders?
Or it's kind of like where Batman, he summons like bats, a swarm of bats. That'd be pretty cool.
He just represents a bat. He doesn't actually talk to bats.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's also in a cave where the Batman theme came about, where bats live.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So to actually directly be telepathic to spiders is really interesting to me. Like they could have actually used it in the show to summon a bunch of spiders.
Hmm.
So the spider bracelet that hides his costume and shoots web lines, or the spider string. Yes, they call it the spider string. Instead of web shooters, it's spider string. The Spider-Man doesn't get around by web sling, since his bracelet can also summon the Marveler, the ancient spacecraft that could change a flying car, the Spider Machine GP7. I love Spider-Man Machine GP7. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it kind of caught my interest too.
Like, since he spends most of his time secretly fighting aliens, his motocross career suffers, and he has to make money assisting his girlfriend Hinami, a freelance photographer. Like Parker, but is also considered a coward and weakling because he runs away every time aliens attack, and Spider-Man needs to leap into action. So instead of Peter Parker being the photographer, it's his girlfriend as the photographer. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
He's not a photographer anymore, but the girlfriend's photographer, and they love Naomi. They loved her character. They'll get all the fan mail saying how good she was, little children admiring her. It's kind of interesting because the whole wall was like, she's kind of clumsy, doesn't know exactly what she's doing, but she's like that molding character that like gives motivation for Spider-Man, for Tuesday. All the Power Rangers shows, Professor Monster, Iron Cross Army, beat up, then battles Professor Monster's Monster of the Week. Oh my gosh. Monster of the Week until the creature grows to a gigantic size. That is literally like Power Rangers. Oh my god.
Yeah, I agree.
Like there's a different creature each week, and this theme of Monster of the Week is literally reminiscent in all of this. And then the giant Super Saiyan, the Power Rangers, human-sized enemies, however, came up with the idea to have Spider-Man's Marvel spacecraft transform into a 60-meter tall robot, Leopardon, named for the leopard-like head on Marvelo's Hall. So the leopard resembling Sphinx on the Marvelo is why it's called Leopardon. Instead of leopard, it's leopardon. Leopardon. Leo, yeah, a leopard. Leopardon. What do you think of leopardon?
Leopardon?
Yeah. Instead of leopardon, it's leopardon.
That sounded so weird.
I mean, it's literally based on leopard. It's like leopard in the name.
Oh, that's true. Hmm.
Leopardon, like leopard transformed. Oh, whatever. You don't get my reference.
Yeah, I really don't.
Let's see. Had yet to establish any limits for the first giant robot. This never took any damage in a fight. Moreover, the suit was stolen halfway through the show's production, required the show to reuse old footage in the fight scenes. What? So okay, so they had to repeat footage of the robot because it was stolen in mid shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It never took damage. Think of a machine that can never take damage. The continuity error right there.
Yeah.
An unstoppable machine that never showed any sign of stress or slowing down. Oh my gosh. That's just weird to me. So, ironically, these production problems laid Leopardon the first and most powerful mecha robots in Super Sentai Power Rangers history. Because of the fact that it never seemed to actually show stress.
Mm.
So Spiderman was the first Power Ranger to use a giant mecha robot. Oh, the return of Spiderman, who popular with American audiences as well with Marvel, when they reran the English subtitle episodes of the Japanese show on its website in 2009. So, Spider-Man was actually referenced in the Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah.
So the main character, Wade Watts, has a virtual reality version of Leopardon against his enemies. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Ready Player One actually referenced Leopardon.
Mm.
And then 2014, Spider-Man was a Spider-Verse storyline. Exists within Marvel's multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
The spider hunting inheritors to Tony Stark is the unbeatable robot merely torn down. I don't know. I think it's really interesting with the Spider-Verse we introduce to the Spider Universe.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I did tell you about the part where, the Morales, what,
I know that, but like,
Hmm?
do you think the multiverse is lazy story writing, or do you think it's a niche area to explain the different variations of the same universe?
Yeah, I would say it would be kind of niche, honestly. Like, I don't think it's that bad either.
Mhm.
I would say, with the multiverse, it's kind of a bit niche in my opinion.
Okay. I would say it's kind of interesting. So, in the overlooking theme of Spider-Man Japan being iconic for it's been the first Power Ranger type film and the unique distinctiveness of it as a show separate from Spider-Man, do you think it's on lots of credibility for that, or do you think it's so out there that it's hard to imagine how you review it?
I really don't know how to. I wouldn't know how to answer that honestly.
Tell you what, come on, give me your honest answer.
Like my. Wait, hold on a minute. Okay, so what was your question again? Sorry.
The portrayal of Spider-Man being unique as possible away from the original Spider-Man. Do you feel that portrayal is bad, or do you feel that is really good?
Um, how well? It's not just that. Spider-Man also gotten strong by many other ways. Like for example, with Venom. But then because of that, it made him turn bad, and you know, I guess by himself, he's just better off by himself instead of using the Venom's power, or the symbiote's power.
Okay. That's a really convoluted answer, but okay.
I told you I didn't know how to explain it really.
So, by being different, it's establishing Spider-Man Japan as a separate property from the original Spider-Man?
Huh?
So you're saying being with Venom is a different Spider-Man than Spider-Man without Venom?
A different aspiration.
Okay. So yeah, Spider-Man Japan has its success in Japan, sparking all these Toei to make all these future series later at the fact based on the model of Spider-Man Japan. And the appeal of Spider-Man Japan when it came back in 2009 was really huge when it got subtitled. And then when it got reintroduced into the Spideyverse, it cut a new light. It's not just Japan anymore, it's now included in Marvel canon into the multiverse theory.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Marvel adapting to the multiverse made it canon, so now they recognized it more because they got recognition in 2009 when they did a subtitle when they did English subtitles. So, any
um,
closing arguments or conclusions?
I can really say is Spider-Man. After what I just read, it just gave me more of an interest. Gives me more reasons why to like Spider-Man even more. But originally, of course, I was a Marvel fan. But now I gotta say, in my opinion, now that Spider-Man and Iron Man, I both equally like.
Okay. So, you're gonna watch the 41 episode live action series of Spider-Man Japan subtitles?
If I have spare time, sure.
So, when are you gonna watch it?
When am I gonna watch it?
Yeah, you're gonna watch it immediately after this podcast?
I mean, no. I mean, it's kind of late for me. I'll probably again watch it when I have free time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I see how it is.
I
You're
mean,
just.
no, I have school. Goddamn. Well, yeah, I almost get in trouble for falling asleep in class. Stay up late being these podcasts for you.
Easy.
Hmm?
You find yourself sound asleep, go to the bathroom, put some water on your face.
I tried that.
Or don't stay up so late.
But you, my gosh, Mick. Yeah.
Well, anyway, that concludes this episode. And Kenny will have to go to bed soon, so wish him luck on the sweet plums and sugar plums.
Why do you have to say that? Shake my head.
Just like Spiderman Japan, I had to be unique as possible from the original Mason, who is MC Anime. Over and out.
This concludes another episode of MC Anime Podcast. MC Anime Podcast is available on podcast directories like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We also have our website at mcanimepodcast.com. If you want to directly support us, then follow Patreon blog MC Anime. Finally, if you want services for hire, then we're available on Fiverr for audio and video production, graphic design, idea consulting, and blog and article writing.